Welcome to Don't Quote Me on That. One day we will have an intro, but today is not that day. Hello, I'm Elanor.
And I'm Kalina.
And welcome back to this week's episode of Don't Quote Me on That.
Oh.
Where we do whatever we want.
I liked how you added some words into the intro there, spicing it up a little bit with your this week's episode. Look at us.
Well, I would say what week it is, but I never know.
That's fair. I hope you all have been enjoying. We've been doing some bonus episodes on Euphoria, so I hope you all have been checking those out because we're so funny. And Euphoria,
we're having a blast with those. Yes.
I'll go on record as saying that.
It is definitely my favorite show going on right now.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about. So I just wanted on record that Kalina was the first one to go off topic.
I don't think it counts as going off topic if we never went on topic. Like, if we go on topic and then I distract us, then we went off topic. But we haven't started yet. So, I got free reign. I could just talk for the next 50 minutes about anything. And as long as we never actually talk about what we're supposed to talk about, we never went off topic.
Okay. Go ahead,
Thank
then.
You. In another life, I'm a lawyer. Okay, so I'm watching this episode of Law & Order, right? First of all, I was waiting for Elanor for about 50 minutes. And she was like, I'm going to eat.
No,
and guess
no,
what
no.
she decided to call me?
No. What happened? She were not waiting. What happened? I was texting Kalina. I was like, I'm in class right now. It's going a long time. After that, I do have to eat. So Kalina was fully informed of my plans. I did not give a time frame because I sometimes take a long time to eat and sometimes I take a really short time. And I hadn't decided what I was going to eat yet. But she knew that I was and then she was like, are you almost done? And I said, almost. And then I called her 10 minutes after that. And she's like, oh, this is the worst time you could have called me.
You know how they say when you're not sure of the answer on a multiple choice test, the answer that has the most words is usually wrong because they have to put more effort into making it incorrect? That was what all the words you just said?
No, that is called hitting the time limit.
We don't need help. We need help staying under the time limit.
I think we need help. I think we just need a new time limit.
I think we need help. Point blank. Anyway, what are we talking about today, Elanor?
Today we are talking about the Ballad of Cleopatra, which is...
Oh.
What?
I think we should probably tell them why we're talking about the Ballad of Cleopatra. I think that's a key point for the adventure.
We're talking about the Ballad of Cleopatra because this week... when does our show come out? Friday? I'm so sorry.
Okay, well, if anyone is interested, I'm looking for a new co-host. Yeah, our show comes out on Fridays.
I knew that.
Yeah, what time?
And Saturday is my birthday, so Kalina let me pick whatever I wanted. And so I picked what I listen to when I'm really depressed because I believe in having fun. And I believe in...
No, I just think Elanor figures I'm the only person who wouldn't be made more miserable by the things she listens to when she's sad. Because, I'm already pretty baseline miserable, according to everyone. So...
I just like this, and that's why I gave it to her to watch. Sure. I didn't do a lot of psychoanalyzing before I chose this. Of me.
Oh, okay. I was like, you're the one who just said it was what you listen to when you're depressed. So, that sounds like a little psychoanalyzing, but that's fair. That's fair.
Well, on you, yeah. Anyway, so what it is it's, I guess it's a compilation of 5 songs from the Lumineers album Cleopatra. And they all have music videos and they put them together as a little story. And it's nice. And we're going to mostly talk about the songs, but also talk about the story a little bit. But as I started that sentence, I realized that I've never actually watched... Well, I have, just not in a very long time. The music videos all the way through because around the 10-minute mark, I start crying and then I have to close my eyes.
I was
So
about to
Kalina might.
say, if you said you didn't watch them, we were gonna have a
No, no, no,
problem.
no, no. I have watched them. It's just I have watched them
Through
through
the
a
blur
lot
of
of
tears.
tears. Uh-huh. And I like the songs a little bit more, but also I don't like them because they make me sad. Anyway, I think we'll just jump into it because we don't need to talk about it. Also, this is going to be the Elanor show, and Kalina will make comments sometimes, which is what it usually is.
This was your idea, Miss. I don't. Like,
I
we're not
know.
gonna talk about that. We're gonna move on. It was. She brought this up. If it were up to me, we would not be doing this.
Okay, well, we almost didn't because Kalina
If it
didn't
up
know
to
what
me,
we
I'd
were
have a
doing
different
today,
co-host.
which is a first.
In my defense,
I think Kalina
when
and I were just
this so long ago. Let alone like now that we're recording. I don't know when from us recording to when this comes out. Also, big gap. So like, we've been watching a lot of content for you all, but the problem is I have like 500 notes on my phone now. So.
Yeah, I always title my notes with like what it is we're talking about. The thing is, I never remember, so I just have notes and I'm like, I have no idea what that means. But then I click on it and it's just the title of a Luke Hemmings album, and it wasn't me being philosophical.
Facing the things we turn away from. Damn, Elanor, that's real smart.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So the starting song is called Ophelia. It is also the name of the album that all of these songs come from. And I think this song was like very, very popular. It came out, I think, early 16, late 15. And this song was on the radio. It was everywhere. It was a pretty good song. I like this song.
I did not like this song. To shock everyone.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, like, it was okay, but people played it too much, and, like, it wasn't that good. Also, I know, off topic, I will take the blame for this one. Online right now, everyone was making fun of Machine Gun Kelly and Willow for that emo girl song, which, like, was bad, right? I got about a minute in, and then I didn't listen to the rest of it. But now they're all, like, bringing up when he covered Misery Business by Paramore, which, like, I'll be honest with you, I didn't hate, but now that people are pointing out like how he has zero inflection, I was like, you know what, actually maybe they're onto something.
Yeah, I liked it, and then now that I'm hearing it a lot more, I'm like, maybe actually I just like the original song.
I think I liked the original, and it was just fun to hear a guy sing it, but like that was that was it. But anyway, there was a point about why was I bringing up Ophelia? Anyway, but the Misery Business, like, it's just like it was okay, but yeah, the more I hear it, especially now because everyone's making fun of it, I'm like, it's not that great.
I like this song. I agree, it does get old pretty quickly, especially because the song itself is fairly repetitive. Thank you very much.
Also, like, not to tap into high school Kalina, but like high school Kalina didn't love being Kalina, and like this like manic pixie kind of Ophelia dream girl. I was like, go away. Who cares? You know?
Oh,
we're past that now.
I only discovered this whole ballad probably 2 years ago. If I had discovered it when it came out, which was, let's see, April 2017, so right around my last month of high school, I would have manic pixie dream girled myself into the psych ward.
Manic pixie dream girled myself into. Actually, I'm not going to finish this. Into the next phase that comes after life.
Into heck.
Ow. I just pulled something in my leg.
Oh, God.
Yesterday I came home and then I sent Elanor a video of my leg was twitching, but like I wasn't doing it. But like if you looked at my my thigh, it was just like jumping every like 5 seconds, which let me tell you, not a fun experience. Very strange.
That's a really exciting story. That's a really great point. Thanks.
Anyway, Ballad of Cleopatra opens with Ophelia. I took notes on the I think more about the actual like music video, because I'm gonna be honest with you, did not love the songs.
That's fair.
I really like one of the songs, and then the rest of them were like, I mean, it's not bad, you know, but like not my cup of tea, and like definitely wouldn't listen to more than once, you know. But in the opening, he's on stage singing, I think, and he like splits off for himself. And I really like anything where there's like two of a person and they're like watching themselves from the outside, or like kind of like your mind. Like sometimes they're watching themselves from the outside, and then sometimes it's like, oh, one is your mind is somewhere else while you're doing something, because he was like on stage. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I don't like how half of the video for Ophelia is just him skipping around in the rain, because if you're happy to be in the rain, you have something wrong with you.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of notes about this song because it was just him walking through the streets, and while the streets were really pretty, it got old really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Although there's
also, he's Kalina, go.
There's a scene where he's like running through the alley, and Jordan Fisher has a song called Mess, which that reminded me of the music video for
called
that.
What?
Mess.
Like, okay, all right. Not like amphetamines.
No.
Okay.
No, Mess. And in the music video, it's all backwards, but it reminded me of that because it also takes place in an alley. That's a good song. You guys should check that out.
I saw him in the video. He like kicks a puddle, mm-hmm. and he must be wearing. He's not wearing like rain boots or anything, mm-hmm. but if you willingly get your shoes wet, you deserve jail time.
Yeah, as we've brought up probably every single episode ever, so I'm sure you all know by now, Elanor and I lived in Ireland, and like, you ever walked around with wet shoes? Horrible.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Wet socks. It's so bad.
I got athlete's foot once when I was in like middle school, and I'm terrified. Every time my shoe gets wet, I'm terrified of that. Even if it's for like 2 minutes.
I genuinely, truly, I don't really know what athlete's foot is, and I think that's good, because if I knew too much, I would be just constantly terrified, and I would never go outside.
Well, just make sure you
Please don't tell me.
A wet shoe. That's all for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I do. I have 3 pairs of leather shoes, and while I don't love that they're leather, I do love that they keep me dry.
Mm-hmm. Here's me and my theories. I did feel like this is like a day he would go, like, because this video had nothing to do with the song, okay? Mm-hmm. To be honest with you.
At the very end, they tried to shove it into the narrative, but like for the most part, it's just a video.
So I was like, this is probably what he would do if he didn't have obligations in his life, in this case the show he was performing at the beginning, but like this is like what he would, I guess he just wandered around the street on a day off, and he was like, this would be sick, I promise, this will look really cool if you just film you walking around.
At the very end of the video, though, he gets into a taxi, which is important for later. Remember that. But then later is 3 seconds, so you don't really have to remember it that long.
Yeah, the running theme is kind of, which I did like how they did this, is you're kind of a part of everyone you meet, whether you know it or not. And that is seen throughout the entire thing. So I did like how they connected it all.
Me too. The second song is called Cleopatra.
I love this song a little bit too much, possibly.
I love anything that's like even vaguely Egypty, and the only Egypty part is that her name is Cleopatra, and the word Cleopatra is said. No, because I forgot that was a word. Okay? And I don't think this is my birthday episode, Kalina. It's not currently my birthday as we film this. I'm not
with you. And when has that argument ever worked on me?
But I think it should work because, again, my main point.
Back to my point. We're filming this in Black History Month. That's racist. That's been my argument since February started, and I don't know what I'm going to do when February is over.
You're still going to say it. You're just going to have less of a point.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, when has the birthday argument ever worked on me?
Never.
Thank you. But this is a good song. I agree. Good 10 out of 10.
I so yeah, this song makes me really sad. I will be honest, earlier I said I started crying around 10 minutes. That's not true. I start crying when he starts talking about the church. Um, there are some, how you say, religious guilt overtones throughout this whole thing. And not to tell on myself, but that really gets me.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's a dead dad right in the beginning of this song, which I can't relate to, but I I like it. Also, my favorite line, not my favorite line, one of my favorite lines. I have all of these lines are my favorite. But he says, "Damn your wife, I'd be your mistress just to have you around." And um, and then I start getting sad. So Kalina might have to take over for the next couple
Kalina will
minutes.
take over. Don't worry. I liked, well, to the damn your wife, I'd be your mistress just to have you around line. It's kind of like something is better than nothing, which is not good, but I think in most cases it's true, because sometimes having nothing is so awful that you're like, gee, like I'll just take anything. You know what I mean? But like that's not good. You should wait and not settle. But also, she picks up all these people. Like so in the video, the driver, who I'm assuming is Cleopatra, picks up all these random these various people, and they kind of like either distract her from whatever's going on, or you can see they remind her of herself. So again, like you are a part of everyone you meet, whether you know it or not, because like those people are either helping her escape her problems or reminding her of her problems. I really like the late line, "I was late for this, late for that, late for the love of my life." And then he says, "But when I die alone, when I die alone, when I die, I'll be on time." And like I don't think I've ever, I think quite the opposite for me personally. I've never been late for anything in terms of like life phases and stuff.
Oh yeah,
like
Kalina was
especially
early
with
for
school and
everything.
stuff.
Kalina skipped kindergarten.
Yeah, I was born early, so like it was just I was born a month early, so like that kind of set the tone for the rest of my life. But I do feel like I skipped a lot of normal things in another way, like social things and things like that, because of being early for everything else, if that makes sense. So I do feel like I
Yeah.
am. I do still feel out of step in that sense. And also I'm a big believer in like the idea of like memento mori. Like everyone's got to die. Like I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And not even literal death, but getting rid of your old self. Sometimes you got to kill your old self. But only you can do that. Like no one else can do that for you. And you can only do it when you're ready, obviously. So I don't know. Like when you die, basically when he says when I die alone, I'll be on time, and like you are the only person who can commit to being a new person. But having said all that, there's no right time. There is just time and what you choose to do with it, which is a quote I saw somewhere, and I very much agree with it. So like if you feel out of step, it's out of step for everyone else, but it's right on step for you.
Also, there's a line in the song that says, "The only gifts from my Lord were a birth and a divorce," and uh, hypothetically,
I'm gonna say no, just based on the face Eleanor's making right now, but I'll let her finish.
well, no, what happened is someone in my family watches and slash listens to this podcast, so I don't know how much I can say. Sorry, Grandma, for airing things out like this. But I think there is somebody in my family who this very much applies to, and it gets me a little sad. But also, I think the like kind of interpretation I've seen the most of this line is like it's about this old woman who's kind of thinking back on her life. And so, the best thing was having her child, and then the second best thing was getting away from like an unhappy sort of relationship. And I think it's a very nice kind of read of a usually pretty sad situation. The divorce line about how, you know, you have to see it as a gift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, silver linings.
Mm-hmm.
No, that makes sense. I think it's interesting. Elanor and I think, are two. The funny thing about Elanor and I is we're the most different people you could possibly have found, and yet we agree
We are
on.
literally black and white.
I don't think it's okay if I make that joke.
I'm sorry. Is black a bad word now? It's Black History Month. I can say that word. The word black. That's the only word I'm talking about, to clarify. Oh, God.
I can't even. But Eleanor and I, well, we either disagree completely or like agree so much to the point it's terrifying on things. And I think it's very interesting that with different backgrounds we still take similar reads from the song. That line in particular didn't stick out to me, but we both brought up the mistress line, and
Yeah.
I'll see if Eleanor agrees with this line. I like and the traffic distracts me from the strangers in my back seat that remind me of you. And I like that line just in general. In terms of the music video, I did note it down as like a car is kind of like a liminal space, and like again, this own little bubble she can be in, even though she's picking up these people, this little world she can create to escape her problems or confront them head on without having to do so in a more, I don't know, visceral way in the real world. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think it's also like, I don't necessarily find a lot of, like, I know a lot of people like driving around and listening to music and just kind of doing nothing. I'm not really one of those people, but there are like, I can absolutely get how like people who drive for fun can really like, I know, because there is that.
Anytime someone's like, anytime mom's like, can you go pick up your brother or run to the store? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm there. And then I'll take 500 hours to do this 20-minute task.
Yeah. Also, there's a line that says, the church discouraged any lust that burned within me, but my flesh was my currency, which I think, not to get into the whole thing of how the Catholic Church views women, especially young women, but I like that line. And the face Kalina is giving me means we should move on to the next song.
Wait, no, I got another line.
Oh, okay.
We should just move on from your point. This is what that face
meant. From my okay, all right, that's fair.
Just a clear future reference. That's always what that face means. No, I'm not a churchy person. That's not really, lines like that don't hit for me for the most part. The only time I find church and religious things impact me is when, what's his face, Hosier, however you say his name, he sings them. I definitely don't think it's that one. But no, anytime he sings about religious stuff, I'm like, this man's a genius. But well, it's because
he's Irish and you can feel it.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. But in this song, there's a line I hadn't noticed before where he says, I read the script and the costume fit, which I thought was really nice. And it's kind of like, I don't know, I think it kind of goes back almost to the being late for this and late for that. It was like, I'm just doing this because this is what's expected of me. This is what I think was laid out for me. And it works for me, you know, and it may not be, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I don't think everyone's life has to be these great grand moments for it to be a good life or the life they want, you know? And sometimes what's laid out for you is good for you. And sometimes it's not. And kind of like when you feel that all of your best is behind you, which I think is another thing on a sadder note for this song, is when you feel like your best years and your best moments are behind you and you're kind of, you don't feel like you have anything else coming, like what else can you do? You know, you just kind of live your life, and sometimes that's okay.
Yes, I fully agree.
Next song.
All right. So do you remember when I was being annoying about religious iconography in songs? Yeah, we're getting worse. This line, the next song is called Sleep on the Floor. It is about the classic I hate my hometown, let's move away.
Mm-hmm.
But this one has the bonus point of mentioning the state that I was born in, which makes it so much worse for me. The first time I listened to this song, I was not in the most sane state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was born in Illinois, and it kind of sounds like my name, and I thought he was saying my name, and it messed me up for a little bit. But he's not saying my name. He's saying Illinois, which is where I was born. So he's still talking to me directly. But there's a line that says, forget what Father Brennan said, we were not born in sin, which in the context of this song sounds more like a man and a woman just falling in love young and wanting to uh, do love things.
I'm leaving you on your own on this one. This is very entertaining for me.
Anyway, but obviously there's a different interpretation that you could take from that, and it's it's kind of sad. Also, going back on the I hate my hometown thing, there's a line that says, if we don't leave this town, we might never make it out. I was not born to drown. Sorry, I can't talk. And like, not to sound like I studied abroad and it changed my life, but like, if I had stayed, literally my only other option, like other than going to Ireland for college, was to go to a college literally a 5-minute walk from my high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could see it, and like, if I had stayed there, I think I would have gone. I don't think I don't think I'd still be kicking, if you will.
Yeah, my mom brings this up all the time. Also, one time I told my mom, I was like, oh, we talked about you in the last episode. And she said, Kalina, you talk about me in every episode.
All the time.
So, hi, Mom. Um, but she brings up all the time that, like, if I had stayed in Florida for college, I would have just been kind of running after the same people I had been running after in high school. Which, like,
Mm-hmm.
I would have to concur with Elanor. I think I would have run myself into the grave, so to speak. But I didn't, and like, I don't know. I'm very glad I went to Ireland, and then also you guys wouldn't have all this wonderful content.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have met Elanor, so.
There's this How I Met Your Mother episode, and I don't remember. They like make up a term for it, but basically it's that when you meet up with somebody from your past, you like kind of revert back to. I think they call it revertigo in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically like when you meet up with somebody, you become the person you were when you met them. So like, for me, I've noticed that when I meet up with some of my high school friends, and it's not always a bad thing. Like, you just kind of go back to who you were when you guys, I don't know, kind of like your quote unquote glory days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I don't remember what I was saying.
I think
Anyway.
we talked about this before, but like,
Yeah.
Eleanor and I don't have adult friends in our home states, Like, we left
Yeah.
when we were, 17 and 18, and went off
Mm-hmm.
to Ireland. So, like, all of my, like, late teens, right, 18, 19, 20, kind of, are in Ireland, okay? And then all of my years before that are in Florida. And then now my 20s are somewhere else. So, like, and, like, it's not... And thankfully, when you meet up with people, it's not, like, awkward and it's like, oh, why are we still hanging out and meeting? But it's, like, kind of, what do you talk about? Because your life experiences are just so fundamentally different at that point. And there's no way you can give context for them. Not just, like, us. Like, our friends also. Like, I would never understand what they were doing, and they would never understand what I was doing.
Exactly. It's like that's kind of the only common ground you have to go on, and it's not like it's not bad, but it
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's good for a couple days or an afternoon. Like that's not
Yeah.
really a you can't live just reliving your glory days.
No.
And if you think you can, you peaked in high school, and that's sad.
There is one line
Oh,
in this song I wanted to talk about. Just
mm-hmm.
no, sorry, not a line in the song, but in the video, they
Yes.
they're like, I think at a funeral, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a couple that we saw earlier in the Cleopatra video. They get in the back of the cab. So this couple is they're at a funeral, and then like the girl is like debating leaving with the guy, and then she also so all the characters like split off from themselves at some point in time. So she splits off from herself, and one version of her stays at this funeral, and one version runs after the guy. Which like one, don't make spontaneous decisions after a funeral, but and not to sound like a I don't know, I read young adult novels when I was a young adult, but there's this John Green quote that I actually really do love for all the flack he gets, and it's so hard to leave until you leave, and then it's the easiest goddamn thing in the world. Which when I think
Mm-hmm.
about that for too long, I get real emo. But like, why
Yeah.
is it
Yep.
so hard for us to just get up and go when we know it's the right thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then you do it, and you're like,
This
oh
so-
my god.
this song actually, I was reading a little bit about it, and the band wrote it kind of right around the time where they decided to pursue music full time and like
Mm-hmm.
you know basically put their all into music. And while that's not really what Clean and I did, I think kind of I don't want to say desperation of doing something new, but like the finality of that decision where you're like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I was gonna
Let's
say not
do
just
it.
like and it, like in that sense, it's not even like physically leaving. It kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Sometimes you have to.
Mm,
You can't just like grow past your old self. Sometimes you have to kill your old self, and only it's hard. It's a hard thing to do, and only you can do it. But then you do it, and it's like look, all these things open up for you. But it's a hard decision to make, and that is a metaphorical leaving in that sense.
yeah, but like once you do it, it's like also back to driving around. The best line in this song to scream if you are driving around listening to it is how do you pay the rent? Is it your parents? Because the delivery of that line is top notch, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I scream it just walking around, which means I get some weird looks. But that's not the only reason I get weird looks, so it's okay.
I'll add it to my talking to myself play. I have a list of songs I rotate through when I'm working out because I just say them to myself. So we'll add that to the list.
And also, I think that one of the lines that kind of encapsulates Clean and I's feelings is, will you lay yourself down and dig your grave, or will you rail against your dying day?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Anything about a grave,
I am
I am there
there.
for. Unfortunately, not physically though, but anything else. Also, though, one criticism: I don't believe
Yes.
in this whole. Not to sound cynical, but I'm not a believer. I'm not a subscriber to the. As long as we have each other, nothing else matters, and nothing can be bad. But I think
Mm-hmm.
the core idea of the love is a sweet idea. But like I didn't love the whole let's run off and we'll sleep on the sheet on the floor and be together and everything's fine because we have each other. Because like
Yeah, no,
when you could leave or die or be annoying, you know?
I think it like captures the desperation of being so in love that all you think you need is each other. But like
Mm-hmm.
that's not sustainable. And maybe Clean and I are cynical, but it's also like, you know what can't pay rent? Love.
Love. Yeah. And like at the end of the day, and everyone said like I use this as an argument all the time, but like I'm the one person who has to deal with me all the time forever. Everyone else, no matter how much they say they love me or choose you or whatever, can leave. And maybe it's not their choice, maybe it is, but you never know what could happen, you know? In like moments anything can change. And you are like if I think that argument for loving yourself is good because you are the only person who has to live with you all the time forever.
Mm-hmm.
So you might as well make it an enjoyable trip. And you can't like, I don't think it's fair, and two, it's just not necessarily the most feasible to put that on someone else, you know?
Correct.
On a lighter note, I think there should be a song about Kalina, or a Kalina, because he was singing about Ophelia. And then I think in this next song, he's singing about some lady named Angela. There's a song called Elanor. So I just think I deserve a song.
Apparently there is a song by Moscow Nights.
I'm feeling very confident already.
Do believe that it very possibly is in Russian.
I did tell someone my name
I'm
the other day.
I'm just going to show you real quick the cover of the album. I know I can't show the internet, but I think Kalina needs to see this.
No, that's perfect. I did tell someone my name the other day, and they were like, because I was telling them I'm from America, and he was like really confused. He's like, that doesn't sound like an American name. It sounds Russian. And I was like, well, you're right, and you're also wrong, because look at me. So I'm going to go listen to that song when this is over. Although one of my favorite things in Ireland was people kept thinking my name was Cleena, because that's a very popular Irish name. And I, according to some people who are not reliable sources, I do not enunciate. So a lot of people thought my name was Cleena.
By unreliable sources, she means everyone she's ever met who has ever commented on the clearness of her speech. Specifically me and her mother and my grandmother and my mother and everybody else who's ever come across her.
And your mother? I'm just learning lots of things.
Okay, but are you learning that you need to enunciate better? Because I don't think that's...
I need to enunciate.
Kalina, I've heard your father talk and it's
clearly.
worrying. Well, you speak clearly compared to him. And he is a very nice man, but enunciation is just not one of his many skills.
He also definitely doesn't have an accent.
For context, for everybody else who doesn't know, Kalina's father, born and raised in Jamaica. He has an accent. He has such an accent that I sometimes I can't understand him, and by sometimes I mean most times. And one time Kalina said, my dad doesn't have an accent, and then I laughed because I thought she was kidding, and then she wasn't.
Well, I'm sure if we were in Jamaica, they wouldn't say he had an accent. And that is all I will say on the subject, moving quickly on.
Anyway, the next track is called Angela.
Yes.
And the first line of the song is, Kalina is an idiot. Wow, look at that.
Finally got a song about me. I liked this song. I don't remember it right now, but I wrote down a lot of lines from it, and I did seem to enjoy it.
Okay. What lines?
I've got, the devil's inside, you opened the door, you gave him a ride. Also, too young to know, too old to admit, which I think is genius. And it reminded me of that song, that Taylor Swift song that was trending, where she says, how can a person know everything at 18 and nothing at 22?
Sorry, Kalina, just real quick. That's the last song, My Eyes. Not Angela.
Okay, well, I wrote down, he's singing about Angela, and then I said, sometimes when you're going through it, you need to find the good, or you have to go make it. And then that's all. So maybe I didn't like Angela. I take it back.
Okay. I will be honest, Angela is a little bit forgettable.
To be fair, I'm really glad Eleanor's here, because I didn't know the names of any of the songs, and I didn't break up my notes at all, because I just didn't, really. I and I was really hoping we were closer to the end than we were.
We are pretty close to the end. I will be honest, I don't have a lot to say about Angela. I like that he mentions Volvos because Volvos always make me think of Twilight.
Yeah.
Also, he says, strangers in this town, they raise you up just to cut you down. Also, the bridge of this song is very fun to scream if you are in that mood. And then they talk about being home at last. And the concept of home always gets me teary-eyed for reasons I will not expand on because
we do it every other time.
Yeah, because I think I've said too much.
If you listen to us talk for longer than 5 minutes, it'll come up.
Yep. But now the song Kalina liked, it's called My Eyes. It's the final song in this little collab, and it's also a very good song.
Can I go back to my too young to know, too old to admit point?
Yes, dear. That's the right song now.
Perfect. So yeah, it reminds me of that Taylor Swift line where she says, "How can a person know everything at 18 and nothing at 22?" And the kind of, and not always in a bad way, but the amount of pride you have as a teen is unparalleled. Like, I have a lot of pride now, but like as a teenager, you're like, no one can tell me anything. And I think part of it is, for the most part, as teenagers, we're so, I don't want to say insecure, but you're so like unsure of yourself that you have to counteract it by being like, looking like you're really sure of yourself. And then when you get older, you're like, oh, I was so stupid. But also, you don't want to relive that and necessarily admit to it. So like, you're like, oh, so when you get older, like I'm 22 now, so the line's very true for me. I'm like, I didn't know anything then, but also I'm going to act like I did because I know stuff now, you know?
Look, you knew enough to knock on my door and say, do you want to start a radio show? Even though that wasn't your idea. So you count, I'm going to count that.
Yeah, see, the problem is I'm a woman of my word, and I said I would do it, and I would change my mind. I walked up and down. I was standing in front of your door for a good, 10, 20 seconds going, she's going to say no. This is stupid. I could just tell him she said no. She'll say no. And I was wrong.
I'll be honest, I have no idea why I said yes. I don't regret it, but anyway, the song Kalina's talking about is called Nothing New. It's Taylor Swift and Phoebe Bridgers off of Red, Taylor's version. And I will be honest, I feel like I'm the type of person who should like Phoebe Bridgers. I don't love it. That song, I don't love, but I really do like that line.
Yeah, that's the only part of the song I know, and that was one of the songs that got stuck in my head when we were practicing. Just on a loop, and I was like, it's not time to be sad, Kalina. You gotta pay attention to where the ball is, so...
Yeah, this song talks about the devil. This song talks about Hollywood. It also talks about feeding somebody to lions, which I like.
I know earlier I said I wrote down a lot of lines from this song, but I also said, I really don't know what he's saying, but all of the lines he's saying, I feel them. And I wrote down, he said, but you couldn't see how it ends, and it's all or nothing to you, and it promised it all, but you lied. So I really liked every line in this song, even though I was only half sure about most of them.
To be fair, there are a lot of lines here that he says multiple times, but he changes one or two words, which is fair. Yeah, he says, promise your love, but you lied, and also promised it all, but you lied. And then, you better slow down, it's all or nothing to you.
Yeah.
And also, you always confused your servants for friends.
Oh. Yeah, see, I liked all of them, and I was like, homie, I have no idea what you're saying, but you're saying it with passion. That's what
he
matters.
does. There's a lot of passion in this song.
Also, in terms of the music video, this is when I was trying to figure out this whole time. But basically, all the ladies we see in this music video are the same lady, just at different points in her life. So, Cleopatra's the older one, and then there's Also, I don't know how they went from cab driver Cleopatra to retirement home Cleopatra, because they really weren't that far apart in age for her to be a completely different person. But anyway, that was just a pet peeve.
What happened is they just made her hair a lot more gray, and they were like, well, here we go.
Yeah. but like the young couple that runs off, that's young Cleopatra, and then older Cleopatra's driving them around. So again, you're a part of everyone you meet, even in ways you don't know. There's a thread that connects us all. Elanor and I really love that, like that game 5 Degrees of Separation from Kevin Bacon, except we do with everyone else because we don't know anything about Kevin Bacon. But like just that idea of like everyone is connected in ways they don't even know. Although I'm wondering what the point of him running around the street at the beginning music video had to do with anything else.
I really, truly, genuinely think the point is that Ophelia was the first single of this song, and they made the music video before they decided they were going to do the Ballad of Cleopatra, and they weren't going to film another one because they already had one they could use, so they just added the taxi scene literally in the last 30 seconds of the music video, and they're like, yeah, it counts. I think there's some part in maybe during Angela or Sleep on the Floor where the couple goes to see the band in concert or at a little bar, and so they're like, maybe that they're like, remember from the beginning, it's the same guy. Do you see how we did that? But like, yeah, the first music video, it's just because it was a single first. Yeah. It was like, guys, it's raining. Get your camera.
I'm telling you, that's what happened. He had a day off, and that the videographer got stuck with him that day, and he was like, "You want to see me run through a puddle?" And the guy was like, "Not really." But he did it anyway.
It's like if that's the only idea you have, sure.
Yeah, the alternative was that or like, let's sit on the bus for 8 hours, and he was like, "Well, Jesus, let's get out of here, I suppose."
It's this or a really long cab ride.
Yeah.
Also, I think that if there's ever like, I don't know, one thing in your life that you really wish you could have done and that you really regret, like part of the whole thing of the music videos are that this girl regrets not running away with like her one true love and instead gets kind of trapped in an unhappy marriage. There's like, Colleen and I talk about this all the time, and I'm sure we've talked about it multiple times on this show, but like, if a relationship is not making you happy and it's feasible for you to start something new, not even like go back to what you like wish you like what you think you wanted at one point, but like if you are like chronically unhappy and there's no way to fix it, you don't have to stay there, you know. It especially like if you have a kid, it's so much better to have 2 happy homes than 1 sad home.
And back to you gotta kill your old self sometimes, and what Elanor said about how if you need to get out of something and start anew, people change. So like even if you were happy the whole time, what you wanted when you were 17, or back to the lines, like what I wanted when I was 18 is not what I want at 22, you know?
Yeah.
And I haven't had any terrible, horrible experiences that I had to like escape from. So like it's okay to start over, and also, again, you gotta kill your old self. You can't hold on to the stuff you think you wanted just because, or that you used to want just because. Oh well, that's what I'm trying to get back to the me before this thing happened to me. You can't do that. You can never go back to the person you were before. So sometimes you just have to become an involved version of the person you were before, and you're not necessarily going to want the same things.
Yeah. And it's also like, just because you kill your old self, that doesn't mean, you know, like you know, if you're a mom or something and you're like, I'm gonna kill my old self, that doesn't mean the new self doesn't also like have a kid that you have to take care of. Like, killing your old self doesn't mean you're getting rid of all of your responsibilities in one fell swoop, you know?
I say kill like your old self because I think it's the most accurate description because of how hard it is. But you also, and at the same time, you kill your old self, but you also have to keep your old self with you. You
exactly. Like, you still have to
keep them in the closet.
Pay
that's
rent.
Like the literal skeleton in the closet that you have to. You can't get rid of.
And like, I think it gets harder to kind of, I guess, reinvent yourself the more responsibilities you have. But like, if you are truly deeply unhappy, it's worth it to change yourself as much as like not everyone can wake up and just quit their job.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's worth it to do as much as you can to give yourself a new life if the other option is just being miserable until you're dead.
And like I said earlier, having a great grand adventure is not for everybody. That's not a life that's going to fulfill everybody. Sometimes having, being able to sit in your bed on a Sunday morning and wake up when you want and have peace, that's the great grand thing for your life, and that's okay.
Like my grandpa, when he was younger, like at the height of his career, he was getting on planes like every week and he was seeing all of the world. And like now he is so happy when he can just stay home and watch football all day and like not have to get up and go to the grocery. Actually, he loves going to the grocery store, but like at some point he had to, look at himself and say, if I keep doing this job, it's going to run me ragged. I have a retirement. I have a wife that I think I like. But let's just calm down on this.
Like right now, the little luxury in my life is the one day a week I don't have to set an alarm to wake up. I mean, I still wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning, but like the alarm is not waking me up, I can sit in bed.
Oh yeah, the best days that I have are when I can close my blinds so that the sun doesn't wake me up. Except for I did that yesterday and I slept until 4 p.m. Which wasn't great for my responsibilities.
I called Elanor and had a full conversation with her, and then about 6 o'clock she called me again and she was like, did you call me this morning or did I dream that?
Oh yeah, I woke up and I was like, I feel like I spoke to Kalina, and then I was like, maybe I dreamed it, because sometimes we do talk in my dreams, not in a creepy way, just in a,
that's embarrassing,
you're one of the 2 people I know, so you come up a lot.
I saw this thing once that was like, I talk to 3 people every day and one of them is me, and at least I'm gonna not to expose myself on the internet, but at least once a day, and I wish I was joking, but at least once a day I tell myself, man, I really need to stop talking to myself. And I usually say that out loud. And it's just to update everyone, not going well. I still talk to myself on a daily basis. To
be fair, Colleen and I are the funniest people that we both know.
Oh yeah, 9 times
why
out of 10
wouldn't
because
you?
I think I'm hilarious, and like I can't talk to Elanor, so I'm just like making jokes to myself. Like, listen, when this whole mask thing is over, it's gonna be real bad for me because I'd be talking up a storm underneath my mask. Not out loud, but I be chatting.
Oh my goodness, I think I don't know if it's actually happened or if it's gonna happen in like the next few weeks, but most of the mask restrictions in Ireland are gonna leave, and like. I'm singing to myself under that thing. I'm making faces. I'm talking. God. I'm keeping it on just so faces. I don't embarrass myself.
I don't think I'm not very expressive, but apparently when I do make expressions, they're not nice. And one time I had gotten off a bus, so I'd taken my mask off, but I forgot. And I'm walking down the street, and these 2 people are kissing in the middle of the sidewalk, and I was making faces at them, and then I realized right before they looked at me that I didn't have my mask on and they could see me. And I was like, what are you all doing? Get out of here. It's like 9 o'clock at night. Go home. It's dark outside. It's cold outside. And then right when they were like turning to look, and I was like, oh my God, Kalina doesn't have her mask on. Maybe look like a normal person. It's the same reason I wear sunglasses everywhere, because I have a tendency to just look at people, and my resting face is not the nicest.
No. Oh my goodness, it reminds me of a time I was in class, and she was explaining, there were a couple international students. She was talking about something that happened at Catholic school, and like half of the Irish people in the room were like, oh yeah, that thing. But I think she saw my face and she was like, here's what it is. I don't remember what it was, but like she was explaining it. And the faces I apparently made, she was like, clearly some of you think that's weird. And I was like, oh, is she talking about me? Is that, am I making this face out loud?
Yeah, you're looking around like, y'all also agree? Who's making the face?
And it was, me and a bunch of Irish people who just were like, yeah, that happened every Thursday. And I was like, did it? What kind of...
Ballad of Cleopatra. just on a last note, I think this is a good example of like how adding media or like connecting your stories make them better, because like I said earlier, I wouldn't listen except for Cleopatra itself. I wouldn't listen to these songs on their own normally, and like I wouldn't have them on a loop, but I would be more inclined to put this on, the Ballad of Cleopatra in its entirety, just because it connects everything, and I think it gives each song a little more weight.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job of putting the whole story together and making it an experience. Mm-hmm. But I'll be honest, as much as I really like the songs on here, I have not listened to the full album. I have no desire to listen to the other songs on the album. Also, that said, I hate it when people like make movies out of albums, you know? I feel like that's a little bit too much. Like how Fall Out Boy did the whole like Youngblood Chronicles or whatever. I think that's a little bit too much. But like this little kind of snippet into the world, I think was really nice.
I concur.
But thanks for tuning in. Wish me happy birthday in the comments or you're fired.
I have been Kalina.
And I have been cutting out my connection and Elanor.
And we'll see you next week. On what day, Elanor?
Friday.
Good job. Also, happy birthday. Sometimes you don't suck.
Okay.
That's as nice as we're getting.
This is public.
That's also about as nice as I would be to her if you all couldn't hear me, so.
Oh, absolutely. That's nicer. Oh, man, I'm swooning. Thank you. Goodbye. We will catch you next week.
Thanks for listening. Don't quote me on that. One day we'll have an outro, but it's not today.